Welcome to the Royal Calcutta Turf Club Calcutta Races Summer Meeting, third day, Thursday, 23rd March 2023. Race preview. The first race of the afternoon is Angelo Handicap for horses rated under 26 to be run over a distance of 1400 meters. Couple of runners we are looking at this race is from race number 112 where they went over 1400 meters. Reagan was in third spot as they entered the home straight, kept on battling towards the wide outside and stayed on in third. The other runner was number 5, Ashfameg. Ashfameg was leading the pack, as you can see in the white and blue jacket towards the inside, but then into the last 200 meters started to drop away and finished on fourth. The winner here was Sporting Trainer, who won that race by a widening margin of 7 1/4 lengths. Couple of runners we're looking at. This is from race number 106. 2 is UV. UV was in 10th spot as they entered the home straight, did not make any further improvements, stayed on in 10. Number 3, Indian Star, who was travelling in 8th spot and eventually made up a placing and finished on 7th. The winner here was Regency Gold, who won that race by about length and 3/4. Number 4 is Truth and Dare, who's had one start after switching base from Western India. This was in race number 59, the one we are looking at, where Truth and Dare was in 9th spot as the horses turned for home, then made up a placing and eventually finished on 8th of 11 runners. The winner here was Yaz, who won that race by almost 5 lengths. Number 6 is Compliance. Compliance won the opening race of the season. After that has gone off the boil, so to speak, has placed 4th in his subsequent start in race number 8. Since then has been off board in its 3 starts. In his last start in race number 94, where it went over 1200 meters, was in 9th spot as the heads turned for home, made up a placing and eventually finished on 8th. We move on to the second race of the afternoon, the Phoenician Handicap for horses rated 41 to 66, rated 21 to 46, eligible to be run over a distance of 1200 meters. First runner we are looking at is Jean Lafitte, who's had 5 starts so far, has been knocking on the door so far. In his last start, Jean Lafitte was in 6th spot. This was in race number 103 where they went over 1200 meters, and then Jean Lafitte started to accelerate towards the tag end of the race and finished on 4th. The winner here was Tycoonist, who won it in a 3-way finish. 3 runners we're looking at. Number 2 is DRD. This is from race number 124. DRD, who was on a start to finish mission into the last 300 meters, started to drop back and eventually finished on 9th of 10 runners. Number 6 is Whistleblower, who was in 3rd spot, kept on finding something down the center and eventually finished in a clustered finish in 4th spot. The other runner was number 8, Ghost. Ghost has had quite a few starts in this race. Ghost was placed in 9th spot at the end of the home straight, made up 1 placing and finished on 8th. The winner here was Dubai Star. Couple of runners we are looking at. Number 3 is Maktub. This is race number 122 where Maktub took the turn in 3rd spot, eventually weakened slightly and finished on 5th. The other runner was number 7, Mark 1. Mark 1 has had 2 starts so far on the Calcutta track. First up, it finished on 9th in race number 108. In this race, Mark 1, after being in prominent position throughout, weakened and eventually finished on 7th of 9 runners. The winner here was Centurion. Number 4 is D, Your Play Your Way, who's had 5 starts so far in this season. Started the season quite well, finished on 2nd, 3rd and 3rd in his first 3 starts. And his last start, the one we are looking at, it's from race number 89 where it went over 1400 meters. D, Your Play Your Way was making the pace as they entered the last 300 meters, then started to run out of gas, eventually finished on 10th of 12 runners. The winner here was Harvest Time. Number 5, Horus the Great, was earlier known as Pisa, has had 3 starts in this season. In his last start, the one we are looking at in race number 108, was in 5th spot, started to accelerate down the center in a bunch finish. It finished on 3rd behind Only You, on that race by about length and a half. Number 9 is Indian Tiger. Indian Tiger has had quite a few starts in this season. Its prominent starts was in race number 18 where it finished on third to Properly Posh in race number 106 where it finished on third again. The other starts it has been unplaced in this run we are looking at is from race number 121 where it was leading the pack into the last 250 meters, then started to drop back and eventually finished on 6th of 9 runners. The winner here was Dubai Bay. We move on to the third race of the afternoon, the Snow Forest Handicap for horses rated 41 to 66, rated 21 to 46, eligible to be run over a distance of 1400 meters. First up, we are looking at number 1 Thunderclap, who's had a couple of starts in this season, sparingly raced a horse. In his first start, it finished on 4th in race number 63 over 1400 meters behind Agostini Karachi. In his last start in race number 77, it was in 5th spot as they entered the home straight. Then dropped back, finished on second last of 8 runners. The winner here was Arabian Queen, who won that race by almost half length. Number 2 is Emrys. Emrys has had a couple of starts. First up, it finished on 7th in race number 89 over 1400 meters behind Harvest Time. In his last start, Emrys was in 7th spot as they entered the home straight. Then started making gradual improvement down the center, was blocked for room for a while, then got an opening and eventually came out and finished on second behind Only You, almost a length and a half behind the winner. Number 3 is Baholian, who's had 3 starts so far, has been unplaced in his 3 starts. The run we are looking at is from race number 124, where Baholian was in 8th spot as they entered the home straight, made up 1 placing and eventually finished on 7th. The winner here was Dubai Star. Number 4 is the Wuska, who's had 5 starts. It started the season quite well, finished on board on its first 3 starts. In his last 2 starts has been off board. In his last start, race number 122, where it was racing in 5th spot as the heads turned for home, then weakened and eventually finished on 6th of 9 runners. The winner here was Centurion. Number 6 is Mount Reno, who's had a couple of successes in this season. Race number 55, where it won, beating Bread and Butter. In his last start, Mount Reno deaded the race with hashtag, was traveling in 4th for most while, then started to accelerate towards the outside, got into a ding-dong battle into the last 100 meters and deaded the race with hashtag. Number 7 is Romero. Romero, his first start on the Calcutta track in race number 86, and what a start it was. Romero was traveling in 3rd for most while, then started to accelerate into the last 150 meters and eventually came out and got the better of Trebia by a long neck. We move on to the 4th race of the afternoon. The advisor played for maiden horses 3-year-old only to be run over a distance of 1400 meters. First up, we're looking at number 1 Abnegator. This start was race number 117, where Abnegator was a little slowly out of the gates, but then took over the running into the last 350 meters and kept finding something, but eventually gave up and finished on 3rd in a small field. The winner here was Ramiel, who got that race by almost length and a quarter. Looking at a couple of runners, number 2 Mahabala, who's had 3 starts, finished on 7th in race number 87, finished on 4th in race number 102, and this start was in 5th spot throughout and eventually finished on 5th. The other runner is number 6 Sweet Legacy. Sweet Legacy has had 4 starts, finished on 5th in his first start in race number 61, then it finished on 3rd in race number 84, then it finished on 4th in race number 98, and his last start was in 4th spot, made some late gains towards the inside and eventually finished on a close 3rd. Number 4 Almaraz. What's the script out of Agassiz? Couple of starts for Almaraz. First up in race number 43, it finished on 5th behind Dedicate over 1200 meters. In his last start, the one we are looking at in race number 87, was in 7th spot, made some lead inroads into the race and eventually finished on an eye-catching 5th behind Contribute. We move on to number 7 Tropical Lady, who's had 1 start, which was in race number 64. Tropical Lady was traveling in 5th spot as they entered the home straight. eventually finished on last of 5 runners. The winner here was Kind of Magic, who won that race by almost 3¼ lengths. We move on to the 5th race of the day, the Adjudicate Cup for horses 4-year-old and over, to be run over a distance of 1600 meters. First runner we are looking at is number 1, Eastwood. Eastwood, who's had 3 starts in the season. In his last start in race number 101, it went on a start to finish mission, was looking good into the last 200 meters, but there was a late surge by Regency Smile, and all Eastwood could do was finish on a credible second. Number 2 is Stockbridge. Speaking of which, out of Sherrill, a very classy customer. Stockbridge, in his last start where it went over 2,800 meters. Over here it was in second spot as they entered the home straight, but then tried to bridge the gap with the runaway leader Botero. All it could do was finish on third, almost 6¼ lengths behind the winner. Two runners we are looking at. Number 3 is Tigrio. Number 4 is Dundee Satyagraha. This run is from race number 115, where Tigrio was in 5th spot as they entered the home straight. Did not make any further improvement, finished on 5th. Number 4 was Dundee Satyagraha. Dundee Satyagraha, who's had quite a few starts in this season, and his last start was in 6th spot as they entered the home straight. Was asked for an effort on the wide outside, but did not really gain on them, finished on 6th. The winner here was Cape Tanaros. Number 5 is Legendary Striker, B. Severo Striking View. This start it had in race number 29 after a break. Here it was travelling in 3rd spot as they entered the home straight. When asked for an effort, was a little flat-footed, as you can see towards the inside. A few reminders, but then did not really accelerate. Fell back, finished on 6th of 9 runners. The winner here was the Sobering Awe. Number 6 is Malwa, has had 3 starts so far in this season. First up, it finished on 3rd in race number 17 behind Stockbridge. Then a couple of unplaced efforts in his last start. Race number 68, Malwa was in 6th spot. When asked for an effort, Malwa was a little flat-footed, eventually finished on 7th of 12 runners. The winner here was the Protector, who got that race by 3 parts of a length. Moving on to the 6th and last race of the day, the Birthday Girl Handicap for horses rated 21 to 46, rated 1 to 26, eligible to be run over a distance of 2,000 meters. First, we got 4 runners which went up against each other in race number 110. Definitely one. Beautiful is the eye catcher. Beautiful subsequently had won in its previous start. Here, Beautiful was travelling in 3rd spot, started to accelerate into the last 200 meters and took the field away. Number 4 was Prosperous Prince. Prosperous Prince has been knocking on the doors in this start. Prosperous Prince was travelling in 6th spot, made some late gains and eventually finished on 3rd. Number 5 was Edmund. Edmund, who was slow to begin, took the turn in 5th spot, made up a placing and eventually finished on 4th. Number 6 is New Hustle, who was travelling in 8th spot throughout and finished on a detached 8th. The winner here was Beautiful. Couple of runners which went up against each other. Number 2, Divine Chakra. Number 3, Creation of God. Divine Chakra, who was travelling in 8th spot. This is from race number 125 where they went over 1600 meters. Divine Chakra was in 8th spots, made some late gains as you can see, eventually finished on 4th. Number 3, Creation of God, who was travelling in 9th spot. When asked for an effort, did not have much to offer, almost finished on 3rd last, 10 of 12. The winner here was Banksy, who got it in a 3-way finish. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. See you at the races.